In this lesson, we'll work with a custom list adapter. We've seen the basic list adapter and what it can do for us. It's actually a bit clunky to code due to all the Java lists and Java dictionaries. Custom list adapters give us control and flexibility about how each item looks and what the content is. In this example, we're going to create a list of people, a basic contact list if you will. Each item will have the person's name, email address, phone number, and picture. It will look like this. You'll note that the pictures are just a default image. The first thing we need to create for a custom list adapter is a resource that the list adapter will use. In this case, each item is going to have the picture, the name, the email, and the phone, and this layout ought to look a little bit familiar from some of the work we did with layouts earlier. We've essentially used a vertical layout with a text view and then a linear layout, which is horizontal. We put an image view and then we used another linear layout with the 3 text views for name, email, and phone number. Next thing we need is an object. And this is going to be the object that we're going to pass the adapter in and use it as a generic type. So we're going to just create a very simple class called person, and it will have the name, email address, phone number, and image. And you can imagine that this would be a lot like taking a database entry and creating an object out of it. Now we get to the list adapter. As we saw on the grid, we descend a custom list adapter from a base adapter, and we use the generic type of object that we're going to pass into the adapter. This is the data object that we're going to use for each item. So we're calling this our person list adapter, and we have our constructor, which we pass in the activities context, and we're going to pass in this case, the entire list of persons. We have the usual overrides for count and indexer, and then we get to the get view. And get view we also saw on the grid. In this case, our item is going to be the person at the position passed in for this particular view. We look at the convert view and make sure that it's not already established and that we have to recreate it. Then we find the various objects within the resource. So in my person item XML resource, I had an image view and the text view for the name, a text view for the email, and a text view for the phone. I get objects for each one of those, and then I set them using the item object, which is of type person. So I take the image and set the image view's resource, and then I set the text for the name, set the text for the email, set the text for the phone, and then finally I return the view. In the main XML, I very simply have a list view control. Everything there is defaults. Then in the activity, I have a variable for the list view, and then I populate that list view. And I create a person list adapter, passing in this activity, and a new list of persons. So each one of these items just creates a person, setting the name, email, phone, and its image resource. And this is where I was using that default person for the resource. And you can see you could put in whatever image you wanted to. You could also imagine how this might be a loop going through a bunch of data rows and pulling it out of a database. So again, we'll run it. And there we go. There's our default image, name, email address, and phone number. And each one of the items is selectable. and the selected index and selected events works exactly like a regular list. So that's basically how a custom list adapter works. Next thing we'll take a look at is an expandable list, where I can create a list that has sub-items in a sublist below it.